This is Argenta, British Columbia, a small rural community of about 100 people. Located in southeastern British Columbia in a remote part of the Kootenays, it has a rather unusual history. In 1952, a small group of Quakers left California and came to Argenta to get away from the militarism and materialism during the McCarthy period in the United States. Quakers are pacifists and strive to live simply. They set out for Canada in the hopes of creating a life more in tune with their values.
We'd come to feel that there were enough things that were destructive of true democracy and the non-materialistic values for our culture happening in the States that it would take a miracle to bring it back to something that we felt comfortable about being part of. We were trying, in our own inimitable way, to live by our values.
In 2007, I was aware that the original Quakers were in their 90s, and I was concerned that if they were not captured on tape soon, that this history would be lost forever. Other significant community members were in their 90s too, and some of the next wave that came during the Vietnam War were in their 80s.
Things got very politically unpleasant in terms of the war in Vietnam and our opposition to it and so on. We moved to Argenta, BC. I was very active both in the peace movement and in civil rights movement, marched with Martin Luther King, and was a good friend of his and his family, and also in the peace movement during the Vietnam War. I was national president of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, and very active, and I have to say very outspoken on peace issues and the war in Vietnam. I knew Martin Luther King because his wife was also on the board of directors of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, as I was. And we had met on various occasions over the years. And when there was the march in Selma, he asked several of us if we would come and join him there. And we did. I was a white, middle-aged, white person who could take a car and drive all around the countryside with nobody thinking the worse of it, and take messages and collect people who needed to be picked up and take supplies to this camp or that camp.
Have you ever been arrested?
No, I haven't. I've done things that I could have been arrested for. With Martin Luther King on his marches when we were marching when we didn't have permission to. And finally enough influential people, spoke up. And certainly it didn't, during the Vietnam War, it didn't stop me from, and didn't stop most Quakers from having demonstrations and marching and so on as Quakers, whether it's slavery or war or whatever. Quakers have not been afraid to oppose what they felt was wrong. Some friends from, also from Philadelphia, joined us at that point. We went to Calgary and picked them up and then took them with us to Argenta. And I can remember at the end of the visit, one friend said to me, well, it's an interesting place to visit, but I couldn't live here, could you? And I said, well, you know, I could. There was enough of interest there, and it didn't bother me to be that much in the wilderness and so on.